What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of The Rich Life. I am your host, BRich. Here on The Rich Life podcast, I want you to have a rich mind, rich body, and a rich spirit. So, today what we're going to talk about is food. In my opinion, food is a universal language that we all speak. Some of us have good relationship with food. Some of us have not so great relationships with food. On this episode, I want to explore our relationships with food and how some of these relationships came to be about, and then how we can uncover and begin to move past some of our unhealthier relationships with the foods that we put inside of our bodies. Okay? So earlier this week, I was scrolling through Instagram. If you're not following me, make sure you follow me on Instagram. Boom. I was scrolling on Instagram and I came across this quote, and it really resonated with me so much. And this quote can kind of resonate with other areas of our life and not just our eating habits. So the quote read, "Your childhood eating habits may not be your fault, but fixing them is your responsibility." And we know this is so true. So many things that happen in our childhood, and so many of our experiences, we had no control and say so over how we dealt with them, or we didn't even have the insight all the time to even know how to respond. But now that we're older, we have a say so, and it is our responsibility to uncover and deal with these things. And here it is, our eating habits is one of them. So this quote is kind of the main topic of today, or our focus of today. So as I kind of was thinking about some of the effects that our childhood eating habits had, and I was kind of started thinking about exactly what could have been some factors that contributed to our childhood eating habits. And one of the things that I thought about is access to healthier options. When we were younger, we didn't have a say so in what was going to be on the dinner table at night. And a lot of times, if you came from a low income family or like a single parent home, or even like was in the different systems, childcare systems, all the time, you didn't always have access to healthier food options. Sometimes it was, hamburger helper, macaroni cheese, frozen dinners, highly processed canned foods, and all that. Nothing is wrong with that per se, if that's what you can afford. And if that's what you can afford, but that may not have always been the healthiest options for us growing up. Or it kind of whereas we were growing up, it may not have had a major effect on our bodies. But as we get older, our body processes different foods differently, and sometimes we develop diseases and health problems that those foods, constantly eating those foods, can play a part in. So having access to healthier options, we didn't always have access to healthier food, so that can be a reason why you have an unhealthy relationships with food now, because when you're younger, that's all you had access to. Then to kind of piggyback off of that, if you're in those low income single parent homes or in the system, those people, your parents, grandparents, guardians, whoever you live with, may not have always had the energy to come home and cook a full hot cooked meal after being at work all day, or dealing with different people and their jobs and everything. They may not have wanted to come home and cook full course hot meals for you. So that is a that could have been another reason why you have an unhealthy relationship with food now. But the good thing is, if you have made a better life for yourself, you're able to, and you have the knowledge to know what you're putting inside of your body is very important. And you should know that you should put high quality ingredients inside your body to have the best return. Yes, to have the best return. And what I want to say there too is also food should be fuel for us and not a way for us to quote, not a way for us to cope with certain things. So that leads me to another point. Food is not a way for us to deal with our emotions. It shouldn't be used as an emotional response. You know, sometimes when we're stressed and depressed and sad and just had a really long day and something didn't go our way, we immediately want to turn to food to kind of fill those voids and feel that emptiness that we may be feeling. And sometimes that may not always be the best route to go. Rather than acknowledging those feelings and dealing with them, you know, letting them sit with us for a little bit, rather than immediately turning to what can fill this hole. And then, you know, sometimes it's alcohol and all of that other stuff too. But of course, a way to be healthier is to not turn to and then overindulge in food. Another thing that I kind of thought about as I was thinking about that quote that I read earlier is also when we were younger, or even now, food was or eating was a form of punishment or a form of reward. So think about, you know, you got straight A's on your report card, you went to Chuck E. Cheese, and you know you had pizza, or you got some ice cream, and now, you know, our thing we may go to now is, you know, wings or tacos and, you know, just all that stuff. Not saying that all of that stuff is bad, once again, but you know, when we're overindulging in it and we use it as a reward system, and we're constantly rewarding ourselves with food, then that's when it kind of has a negative connotation. You know, instead of rewarding yourself with food, reward yourself by ordering you a book or going sit out at the park or something like that, and just having you time, you know, doing some self-care work, or rewarding yourself by meeting up with a friend, or, you know, if you in business on your if you have if you're an entrepreneur or whatever it is, you know, reward yourself by like clocking out earlier, or finishing your work a little bit earlier, leaving your time to for your reward. So rather than looking at food as a form of punishment or reward, and then the punishment one, think about when you're young, you know, sometimes your parent made you sit at that table until all your food was gone, until you ate all your vegetables. And as a result of that, you don't like your vegetables because your parents made you eat them. It's like now that you're older, you actually have a say so, and you can go back and you can decide, okay, I actually like this vegetable. Like, I want to go back and give it another try. Rather than having that negative view of vegetables because your parents forced you to eat them, now it's your responsibility to deal with those unhealthy habits. Once again, another contributing factor to our relationship with food now could be overeating out of lack. Once again, going back to when you were younger, some people didn't always have enough food. So now that you're older, you're established, you actually have the resources and you have the money to be able to eat what you like. You still have it programmed in your subconscious that you don't know when you're going to have another meal. You don't know where your next meal is going to come from. So every time you eat, you're thinking, okay, I got to eat all of this. I gotta overeat because I may not have a chance to eat anymore. You now have the opportunity to Just eat as much as you need in that sitting, as much as that's going to satisfy you in that sitting. Not overindulge, but just enough that's going to satisfy you. And then you have an opportunity to go back and always eat later. You don't have to keep that mindset of lack and let that mindset of lack or poverty keep driving you to unhealthy eating habits. The next thing I thought about with our relationship with food is just misconceptions in general about food. One of those being mainly like carbs are the enemy, and you can't eat too much of this and you can't eat too much of that and all of that. But in actuality, carbs are not our enemy. Carbs are actually a vital component of our diet. We need carbs. They are what gives our body energy. They're what fuels us throughout the day. And then, there's protein, and then there's fats. All of these things we need. We need these things in some form. So not saying we're gonna go overindulge, and you know how people always like, oh, I'm giving up pasta because it make me fat, I'm giving up bread because of this and that. It's like eating those particular things don't necessarily make you fat. Is constantly eating them, having pasta 5-6 times a week, having pasta and bread every day. Then it's the sauces that you add on top of your bread, and what are you adding with your pastas and your breads and all that. It's that once we start adding those other components, like for example, like if you have pasta, Alfredo pasta, we have chicken in there, and then we have a side of those, those little rolls they be giving you at the Italian restaurants. It's like if we're eating that every day of the week, multiple times a week, yes, of course it's going to be unhealthy for you and cause you to gain weight, because our body isn't meant to just be fueled by those things. Rather, a wide variety of foods that that diversifies what our gut can kind of digest, and what we need to actually sustain and survive. So don't let your misconception of food allow you to constantly have a bad relationship with it. And then there's dieting. Of course, some people have just given into the diet culture where they're doing this diet and that diet and this diet. I feel like, me personally, I think that you should, rather than doing crash diets or dieting for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or however long you choose to diet for, I think our diets or our eating habits should be something that is sustained. Like I just said before, I think it should be something diverse that is healthy and is nice and balanced. You don't have to cut out, if you love donuts, you don't have to completely cut out the donuts from your diet. You don't have to completely cut out ice cream or completely cut out pizza or completely cut out burgers and all of those things. It's just about having eating habits that are balanced. Okay, I feel like your diet / eating habits should be something that can be sustained, and once you've lost the weight or whatever, it's something that you don't want to give up. It's something that you want to keep going with, because it's not overly complex and it's not limiting you from all the things that you enjoy. So a good diet is balanced, okay? And it's well balanced. Like I alluded to earlier, food should be our fuel. Food is not a way for us to deal with our emotions. Fuel is not a way for us to cope. Food should be our fuel. Food is our main source of food, and it keeps us running. Just like gas is a car's fuel, food is our fuel as humans, and we need to create a healthy relationship with it so that we won't have all types of diseases or health problems as a result of our eating habits for all of these years, okay? So let's start moving away from our unhealthy eating habits. And what I want you to do is ask yourself and really sit with it for a while. What is your unhealthy eating habit? What caused your unhealthy eating habits? What is your perception of food? Your brain wants to help you discover this. So sit with this for a while. Give your brain this question, because your brain is a problem solving machine. So I want you to discover what your unhealthy eating habit is and how can you diversify your diet. How can you change your attitude from when you were younger to fit who you are now as an adult and the resources that you have now. So I really just wanted to give you insight and kind of show you some of the things that could be underlying issues to the eating habits that you have now, and some of the things that could be holding you back from seeing the results that you want to see in your life, especially if you're trying to lose weight. So I hope this helped. I hope I didn't, ramble. I hope this is like straight to the point. And this was enlightening and helping you to kind of go to that next level in your eating habits and just in your life in general, and helping you to have a better life. So if you enjoyed this episode, or if you've enjoyed previous episodes, make sure you are liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing these episodes with others so that others can have this information as well. If you're not already, make sure to follow my group on Facebook. Make sure to follow me on Instagram. Subscribe to my YouTube page. If you're interested in working with me as your trainer, you can find that link as well in my bio. All of these things can be found in my bio. I like to leave you every single week. Go out there and be rich. Have an amazing day.